Oh man, right as I hit the record button, it begins to rain. So I'm gonna have to lug my camera through the rain into the gym. Sigh. Big sigh. But, we're all going through it. This is one of the trials and tribulations of gym therapy. And yes, today is another episode of Gym Therapy. Thank you all for tuning in. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. My topic is toxic men. It's nice guys. I really like reading drama posts on the internet. I don't want to be a part of drama myself, and I would never talk shit about anyone, you know. But when things are made public and they're anonymous, and I can just read some text messages and see some people doing some really cringe stuff, I want to. And I will. Because even though some of it makes my skin crawl, it also just really scratches something on the inside of my brain, something primal, something that I think is necessary for the survival of humanity. And speaking of the survival of humanity, this is a tangent, but I have been playing Fallout recently. I've been very into the whole post-apocalyptic, retro-futurism type narrative. I don't even know what got me into it. I mean, I've played Fallout before, right? But something recently in my brain was like, you need some sci-fi, but you also need some grounded post-apocalyptic stuff too. And I was like, whoa, perfect. I'm going to start a new modded Fallout 4 run. And it has been a lot of fun. I typically am like a really, really goody two-shoes man. Because it feels good to be good in Bethesda games. When you're like bad in Bethesda games, like you're like kicking children. And that's not the kind of like evil I like in narratives. I like believable evil characters. Ones that have a motive, like ends justify the means type characters, like the ones who are just like mustache twirlingly doing bad stuff just for the sake of doing bad stuff. That's not well written. I don't feel like that's real life for the most part. I think most villains are villains by circumstance and by opinion, right? Like if we look at, I don't want to drag real world politics into this, but I am from America, okay? And if we look at World War II, right? America believed that America was the good guys. But if you were a part of Imperial Japan, you thought that you were the good guys. And it was unquestionable, right? And I don't think it's really up for debate that, it's really convenient that throughout history, the good guys always won. Right, guys? Isn't that crazy? Like, the good guys always won. The victor writes the history books. And that's not to say that Japan was good. They did a lot of heinous things. I don't really want to get into that. I'm a big history. I love history. I could talk about history for hours. But that's not what this is about. Maybe history vlog in the future, but definitely not today. But the reason I don't like evil characters in video games, playing them, is like when it's a PC player character, it just never feels good. It never feels right. But I have a mod that lets you play as the Enclave, but like not like the really bad version of the Enclave, if anyone's familiar. It's kind of like an Enclave that you can make some decisions on and take the good things, because I do think there are some good things about the faction, and then kind of like get rid of the bad stuff. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a more neutral to bad aligned campaign, but I'm not like needlessly killing people, right? You're not needlessly doing bad things. But sometimes, even in real life, even for the good guys, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That's troublesome. That's problematic. I'm gonna never admit that I said that, even though it's a quote from Star Trek. Today, I just think I'm gonna talk about some toxic things that we as men end up doing. I want to maybe read some Reddit posts because they're funny and because they kind of really explain what I'm talking about. I wanted to have a chill day, but I did want to have a subject on gym therapy. I had a couple other ones cooking. I had one about loss and about emotional regulation, but I didn't get enough time to read scientific journals like I wanted to. Like I read a couple of studies, but it was like 5:30, and I was like, man, I got to get to the gym. I don't feel like I'm really ready to talk about this. I also had one on like conformity, and I was even less ready to talk about that. But I was kind of once again watching. I was once again on the internet, and I was scrolling Reddit, and a suggested post came up, and I was like, man, how do people act like this? How do people do this kind of thing, and they expect any other result than the one they are getting when it comes to interacting with the opposite sex? So, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. See you in the gym. So, first exercise we're going to do, of course, for the back and the bi day. I didn't actually say what we were doing before we came to the gym, but it's back and bi. I did some pull-ups. There was a class, however, just like last time, I'm starting to notice a pattern. Pull-ups are going to be hard to film, I guess, when I come in this time, so I'll try to adjust so I can actually start getting pull-ups in. But we're going to start with our first bicep exercise right here, and then we've got some stories. Approximately 11 million years ago, the last common ancestor shared between gorillas, humans, chimpanzees, and bonobos existed. Approximately 6 to 7 million years ago, the last common ancestor shared by humans, chimpanzees, and bonobos existed. From there, we follow the human race's journey towards domination of our small blue world. We have the remains of several extinct, perhaps, ancestors of humans, like Sahelanthropus, Australopithecus, Homo erectus, and finally, all the way up to now, Homo sapiens. And somehow, along those millions of years of evolution, we have forgotten how to communicate with each other. Which is why we're talking about what we're talking about today. And that is the nice guys and the nice girls of the world. They're all around us. Some statisticians suggest that 1 in every 3 men you meet is a nice guy, and a similar proportion of girls are that way as well. They hide in plain sight. They act as normally as you or I do. They're among us, watching, waiting to accuse you of not giving them a chance, and that you are a derogatory phrase because you are not interested. Let's get a set.
Your tag, man.
My what?
What is your tag? What you do your content on?
Oh, YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah, it's I don't know if I'm big enough to pull up at first. Let's see.
I say that because I say it's damn near every day I fucking yell over your camera or some shit.
Oh, you're good. It's just try and type Jim.
I'm gonna type.
Oh, you're just doing it in your notes.
Yeah.
So my ad, it's just Christopher Anthony on
Okay.
YouTube, but the series is called Gym Therapy. So
Gym Therapy.
one of those might pull up when you search it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, that was very wholesome. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah. For our first post, we have a individual who came upon a young maiden. He hasn't known her very long. Only about a week, according to the notes. And the interaction starts fairly mundane, but he opens up with, "Hey, how are you?" She says, "I'm good. How about yourself?" And he says, "Pretty good. Now that talking to you, it's even better." "Haha," she says. "How is everything? Everything's good?" "Okay." "What's up now?" "Going to the hospital." "Oh, how's the hospital treating you?" It's been alright. Well, listen, I'm actually in transit, so I'll have to get back to you later." Our villain in question says, "What's the rush? Can't find time for me?" She says, "Well, I have time. Well, I have to reach in time, so anyway, talk to you later." He says, "LOL, yeah. Quotations later. I know, what a waste." She says, "Excuse me?" He says, "What? What do you mean by what a waste?" "Nothing." She says, "Okay," with a thumbs up. He then comes back with, "Hey, you were supposed to ask again if I say nothing." Like, there's like rules, but I totally understand what he's saying when he says this. I read it and I just nodded my head, yeah, that's how it goes typically when you give a shit. But dude, this guy really doesn't understand that she doesn't in fact give a shit. And she says, "Why exactly? It's good manners, and manners maketh man." Tips Fedora. He doesn't do that, but when he says maketh man, that's immediately what I envision. And she says, "Well, I don't know why this is supposed to be good manners. Also, I'm not a man." And he says, "Yeah, I know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have tolerated this." She says, "Tolerated what exactly?" "The way you're ignoring me!" Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. She says, "When did I ignore you?" He says, "Well, I'm texting you now and you're giving me excuses." She says, "Literally my work hours. I told you I have to go to work." He says, "You can take a little bit of time from me." What? What do you mean by you can take a little? Bro, she doesn't know you. She has to go to work. What is she supposed to do? Go to her boss and say, "Oh, hey, this guy that I don't know and doesn't matter and there's no emergency says that I need 15 minutes before my shift to talk to him. That's okay, right? That's like perfectly normal and okay behavior." And he says that she should do it because he's interested in her. And she says, "Okay, congratulations, but I'm not interested in you. I have literally known you for a week. Why the hell would I even be interested in you?" And he says, "Be nice. I'm a catch, you know." She says, "Didn't ask, don't care." And he says, "Heh," like H-E-H. He types it out. "Heh, be nice. You have seen my business. I earn fat bread. I'm a catch. I'll give you what you deserve." This guy, like, is... Anyway. She says, "The fuck? Okay, catch man. I'm not single." He says, "LOL, another lie. You women. You can just say no. You don't need to lie." She says, "You understand English, right? I have been saying no." He says it again. Every time he types the word, heh. I can, like, picture another, like... I'm not profiling anyone, but their stereotypes are funny a little bit sometimes. And the whole, like, neckbeard fedora thing is quite amusing to me. Because the behavior and the aesthetic do, I think, on some level, go hand in hand. And every time I see him type heh, I just picture another hair follicle sprouting out of his neck. He says, be nice, you're a nurse. It doesn't suit you to be a B-word. So anyway, I'm interested in you. You're pretty and in nice shape. I make decent money. I can give you a good lifestyle. It's so wild to me that you're like marketing yourself to a woman and like your whole angle is, I'm a wally. Hey, I have money. Hey, I have things. It's funny that the nice guy crowd complains that no one wants to get to know them. But then when I read a post like this, all this guy is doing is marketing himself based upon monetary benefits. From the beginning, he has no conversational abilities. I think I can do better than... I mean, typically when I don't know someone and I'm having a conversation with them, I can do better than what's up. After, like, starting the conversation. What are you doing now? HBU. WID. HRU. Some people are really incredibly bad at having conversations and making conversation. I don't even think it's restricted to women. If this guy was texting me and he was texting me in the beginning like this, let me pull my phone back up just so I can reference it really quickly. Hey, how are you? I'm pretty good. Now that I'm talking to you, even better. How's everything? Okay, what's up now? Like, my man has 2 charisma. He did not invest in speech. He's wasted his level ups on... I'm not sure what, actually. Because the deeper I get into this conversation, the more I understand that, just like a lot of us, upon the evolution of humanity, he has lost some very crucial socialization skills. As the conversation continues, he says, what does your imaginary boyfriend do? Again, all we care about is monetary motives. And she doesn't answer. She just says, why is it so hard for you to believe that I have a boyfriend? And he says, because pretty girls like you who go to the gym don't get boyfriends for long. What does that mean? Are girls that go to the gym more promiscuous than average? Is that what we're implying? Can't be satisfied for long? Are constantly looking out for better partners? Like what is the narrative that we're putting out here? And if that's what you believe, then why are you pursuing a girl that you also don't believe would be with you very long? And she says, I deal with literal shit every day. I don't have patience to deal with the shit outside of work. And he says, heh, be nice. I'm just asking for a chance. She reiterates that she's single. And then he says, what the F are you doing in the gym, you B-word? What the F were you riding that guy for? And she says, what the heck? What riding? And he says, WTF were you doing with him? He's married. And she says, he's a trainer. He was training? He says, yeah, training. B-words like you open your legs for everyone. And she says, well, everyone apparently doesn't include you. And he says, STFU B-word. I bang sleuths like you in the butt every day. That's as deep as I think we need to go with this one. It's funny how we went from, oh, you're so beautiful, my day's so much better because I get to talk to you, to you're worthless and dumb and I get girls like you all the time just because things didn't go his way. It's upsetting. At the end, he's just like, Oh yeah, you don't wanna sleep with me? That's okay. Everyone sleeps with me. I've got so many options to sleep with, you don't matter. I could sleep with everybody in the world if I wanted to at the same time. And because you don't want to sleep with me, you're just a dumb sloop. Like, you're promiscuous. The narrative that someone is promiscuous because they don't want to sleep with you is a real stretch. It's a real leap in logic. Like, you're so easy, yet I can't get you. The word has lost all meaning at this point in our society. And I don't even know that it's all that. Is it you? I don't know. I'm not a woman, but if anyone ever called me that as a man, I don't know that I would be very offended because, number one, I'm not. And number two, even if I was, what does it matter? Like, unless you're like actively, I guess, participating in the crime, right? If you're actually prostituting, but then, I mean, you're making bread, I guess. The only issue is like going to jail. Also, your partners probably aren't the best. I think I have some thoughts on the industry. It's dangerous, I imagine. But nobody's calling, like, real, like, working women those phrases, right? It's so strange that the people who get called that the most are loyal partners, right? It's like your girlfriend, not yours, hopefully, as the viewer, but like men who say these kinds of things are saying it to their wife, to their girlfriend. It's like, what does it say about you if that's what you think of her? Also, how could you ever say that to someone that you care about? It's just kind of awful. Of course, he goes on to say that she's not that great anyway. And then she quotes him in the messages saying, "Didn't you just say otherwise?" And he says, F you. I was trying to play you. My man is really striking out. I can't handle it. I don't understand the desperate behavior at all, truthfully. Hopefully it's none of you guys watching. But I have seen enough partners text messages of guys reaching out to them every single month for years. Hey, how are you? You're beautiful. Just give me a chance. And it's just like text after text after text after text after text after text after text. Never responded. Never gave them any hope at all. But it's like they wake up and they have like a bunch of alarms set to like text. Because if he's doing it to you, he's doing it to all the girls, right? So it's like he has like Teams meetings on his calendar, but it's like text this girl at this time. Good morning, beautiful, or whatever. And I can only think that it has to have worked before. Because who would do something repeatedly like that with like no success ever? But at the same time, every girl that I've ever seen that has those guys texting them never responded. And I don't know if it's like some amount of bravery or just absolute Chad confidence. But the way that I physically am incapable of sending a message to a woman if she doesn't respond a single time, and then I've had girls text me like after the fact, and they're like, "Hey, why did we stop talking?" Or "Hey, why didn't you ever message me?" And it's like, I'm not double texting you. I have more self-respect than that. It also gives me clarity into like the type of person I was texting when they do text me back. I'm just like, oh, so you were just like playing a game. Interesting. Oh, you wanted me to chase you? Was that it? Interesting. And then, like, I've got my answer, right? Like, okay, she was interested, and she wanted me to, like, play the game, but I am not personally interested in playing the game. And then, I continue to not play the game. Because I don't want to. And I think that's where boundaries are important. Some boundaries are healthy and needed. And I don't think that you could compromise on them. And I don't think you should compromise on them, especially when you like root your self-value in some of those boundaries. Like, I think I am worthwhile enough as a man to not have to chase you as a woman. I will court you and I will be a gentleman, but I'm not going to ride town from town on horseback to track you down after you left in the middle of the night, escorted by a rogue band of miscreants. You would have left me a letter. if it was important, with my steward, but you didn't. So unfortunately, our courtship ends here, and it is my nightly duties to find another fair maiden who is more willing and worthy of my nightly services. Were knights allowed to marry? Hold on, this is important. Oh, okay, interesting. So, what a tangent we're on here. Medieval knights did get married, but they had certain specifications as to how they could. They couldn't marry commoners since they were below their social class, and they couldn't marry anyone of higher class unless their lords arranged it in order to forge an alliance. So then, my next question would be for all of our medieval historians in the chat, what social class was equivalent to a knight? Oh, interesting. Let's get a sec, and we're going to continue the actual topic. Sheesh. Alright. And next, we're going to do a row of some type. Alright, and for our next exercise, we're going to just be doing these cable rows, one arm at a time, getting it back on each side. So let's get our first set. Ooh, lordy. It's kind of loud. So our next victim in our crusade against the socially incapable humans, we have our hero, a boy, a green texter, however, so we need to get him on the iPhone train. But our villain, the lady in this situation, says, "Hey, I need to ask you something that's bothering me. What's up? Who is Rena to you? I heard that you two used to date." "That is my ex, yes. We've been broken up for almost 2 years." "Why didn't you mention this? Are you aware she does OnlyFans too?" "Why would I mention an ex to you?" "No, I didn't know. She started that after we broke up. Like I said, it's been 2 years. I don't know if I can trust you on that. What are the assurances it won't be a problem? I'm honestly going to have to think about this all." LMAO, what? What are you on about? And be very clear so I can determine where this is heading. You asked me if I did OnlyFans. I told you yes. Why would you ask if it wasn't a problem for you, or if you weren't fishing for information? Now I found out your ex does it, and I have to assume the worst until proven otherwise. And to be clear, what exactly is the worst? That we are just trophies to you. And why would that be a trophy? Question mark? Wow, seriously? Yes, seriously? Answer the question? No, how about I just block you instead? Because now you are gaslighting me, avoiding questions, not being direct, and now being an a-hole. I just wanted answers to make sure I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. Exactly. Silence. F you and goodbye. What? You are gaslighting me by avoiding questions and not being direct, she says in an attempt to avoid the question. I don't understand that at all. Maybe I can get there on the like, you're just like using girls who have OnlyFans. But if he says that, I don't know, you're starting a relationship with someone, which means you trust them. They've clearly been talking for some amount of time. He tells you, my ex and I broke up over 2 years ago. The OF thing just started after we broke up. It should be done. Over with. No bearing on this relationship. I think that speaks more volumes on her being perhaps insecure about the things that she is doing. Because then when he asks, like, why would this be a trophy? Like, what do you mean by that? She immediately jumps to, you're gaslighting me. It's like that meme where, like, someone will say you're a misogynist, and then you ask them, okay, well, what is the definition of misogyny? It's the same thing here. You're gaslighting me. Okay, can you tell me the definition of gaslighting? Because asking a question is not gaslighting. People are embarrassing a bit, aren't they? Oh my god, this is why I don't talk to people in public. This is why I don't make new friends. I'm not trying to have casual conversations. This is why I don't want to date people either. My social battery just doesn't have enough charge these days. I'm like an iPhone with like out-of-date hardware trying to run on the latest software patches, but I'm just like really struggling to get there. I only have half the emojis. My texts take twice as long to send. And my reception's not all that great either. But let's get a sip. Here's a new one. Again, I feel like the guy one's a little bit longer, a little bit juicier, so we're going to supplement that with two smaller little appetizers for the nice girls. There's some amount of this conversation that I do not have, unfortunately. But it starts off with her saying, how's your day so far now? It's been pretty good. I just worked all day, and now I'm about to eat something and probably knock out for the night. How about yours? She says, gym before 2. He says, huh? Question mark? And she says, I'm going to the gym before 2. Oh, gotcha, LOL. Well, nice. Get that work in! Exclamation point. She says, so, with 3 O's. He says, so, with 3 O's. She says, where's this convo going? Is it going anywhere eventually? He says, what are you asking? Like my intentions with conversations with you and all that? Smiley face. She hearts it with a thumbs up. He says, because I am on here to find someone. I haven't dated in a while. I've been single for almost 3 years now, so I figured I would try dating about and see what happens. How about you? So I'd like to get to know you, and maybe if we click, go on a date? Question mark. And she says, it doesn't seem like you're trying, in quotes. That's why I'm trying to get more straight to the point. If you're not that interested, I can focus on attention elsewhere. If we mutually agree on it, then I'm okay with that. He says, well, I'm sorry about that. Just am one to generally get to know someone. Like I said, I'm new to dating recently, so I'm not the best, okay? LOL, I am interested in you! Exclamation point. She says, my interest is slowly dying if you're going at the same pace as the lazy river. He says, well, what am I supposed to do? LOL, I don't know much about you. She says, because you're not asking. We can't both be in our feminine energy here, because now you're bringing out my masculine energy. I'm just not interested anymore. I'm done with it. He says, good luck. I want to be totally fair here. I think they both messed up. I don't think feminine energy is an excuse to not participate in a conversation. If that's like okay to you in the comments, in the chat, it's not. That's dumb. If like we're both here to find a relationship. If you're interested, you need to put forth some effort too. Like you can't be like you're not trying when you respond with gym before 3 words. I think for his part, was he perfect? No. All right. I guess I am sort of the Riz Lord. This is my dating coach moment. All right. So, as a man, you're going to be expected to lead the conversation forward, right? So when she says feminine energy, masculine, I understand what she's saying. I have experienced it. And like I said in previous videos, if you recognize a problem in society, it is our job as sentient, smart human beings to address the problems to get the things we want. So with that being said, my man, you gotta be more interesting. Not even more interesting, you have to be more interested. She says, I'm going to the gym before too. Cool, what are you working out today? Where do you go to the gym? Haha. Oh, so you're my potential gym bae? Just like, I don't know. You gotta riz a little bit, right? Be interested in the things she's saying. You can't just say, good luck, have a good pump. That's a conversation ender. If we're trying to get these girls on dates, you can't hit them with conversation enders. Let's get a set. Sheesh. However, there's a little theory with this though also. It's like the more interested a woman is in you, the more she's going to be willing to push the conversation forward, the more she's going to be willing to talk to you. On some level that's true for guys and girls. It's not just women, but I think men have the role of taking the lead, I think, societally when it comes to these kinds of conversations. So the more interested generally she is, the more willing she's going to be to step out of the comfort zone. I, however, only entertain women who are just the most over the moon with me, because it's not that I'm trying to put the least work in possible. I just want to feel valued. And I don't feel valued when I'm doing all the work. Does that perhaps stop me from meeting some incredible people? No doubt. But I ain't changing. So, with that being said, we're going to hop on up and we're going to go do another exercise. Probably bicep-centric. I don't know what it is yet, but you'll find out in a moment. All right. It's been a while since I did some barbell curls, so let's do it. It's funny that we're talking about nice guys and nice girls, and I think I'm actively having a nice girl moment right now. I won't out anyone though. It's such a moment that I don't even know what to say. Actually, I will. I will say it. This girl just texted me. Effectively, I need a man that's sick to my stomach over me. And I said, that's the kind of man that kills his spouse. She says, stop deflecting, start obsessing. Baby girl, you don't know who you're talking to. That ain't me. That is not me. Obsession is for the wife. That ain't you. Not yet, at least. Not even close. Anyway, the story from Reddit. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't message you earlier today. Oh, this is the boys are the villain again. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't message you earlier today, but I wanted to say I enjoyed our date yesterday. How did you feel about it? Oh yeah, I was wondering why you didn't message sooner, but I agree, it's very enjoyable. Would you like to see each other between Christmas and New Year's? I can take you to the restaurant you were talking about. I can't. I'm going to be at my parents' between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe sometimes in January. I'm going to be a little busy though. So you don't want to see each other anymore? No, that's not what I said at all. Well, it kind of seems that way. You expect me to believe that you aren't going out to party on New Year's? Not this year. Then why can't you see me in January? I literally said I can. I just said I'll be a little busy. Okay, well you should make some time for yourself instead of work. If you spend time with me, you should relax. If you spent time with me, you could relax more. That's not really time to myself then, is it? So you don't want to see me. If you're going to be so confrontational about it, I don't want to, really. I literally paid for your dinner, and this is the thanks I get? You should be thankful I spent the time getting to know you. Now you want to ditch me? What the F? I don't really know what to say to that. You could start by apologizing for wasting my time. Have fun slooting around on New Year's Eve. I guess I dodged a bullet here, laughing emoji. So you aren't going to answer me? You're a waste of time, you know that? You better pay me back for the dinner because this is ridiculous. I took you out to a nice diner that you said you enjoyed and now you won't go on a second date with me. Effing sloot. You literally have no life and you say you are too busy to see me. You could have just told me straight up that you're busy all the time before I went on a date with you. Do you usually waste people's time and money slooting around for free food and attention? I can't believe I actually was considering settling down with a woman so old and so ugly. Girls over 21 are a waste of time. I don't need to settle for an ugly duckling like you. She finally responds, then stop texting me. Get a effing life. My like is better than yours, sloot. The obligatory life correct from her. Whew. 1 day later. I'm sorry. I should have been more understanding about your schedule. Sorry if you feel disrespected. 1 following day later. You up? Let's get a set, and then we'll dive into that. That's tough. I said it. I said the thing. I said the "that's tough" catchphrase. I love the ones where it's like everything seems to be going fine, but like clearly this guy has some kind of hiccup mentally, where it's like he's clearly worried about her meeting someone else. Like maybe he's too emotionally invested already, and so he sees her being busy as like her intentionally not wanting to see him, and then immediately just jumps onto the "you're not interested, you don't like me, you wasted my time, you stole my money, blah 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 blah." But the whiplash into, like, I can understand maybe, I can't understand like being rude to someone like that over text. I can understand feeling used, even if that wasn't the other person's intention. I guess if you're like hyper insecure, I don't understand messaging them about it. But then like the whiplash, like, you know, he's a villain and not, this wasn't accidental, because he then, it's fine, and then it's not fine, and he takes it too far, obviously. There's like a line of like, hey, I wish you would have told me this, that you were this busy. I don't think this is a good way to start a relationship, sorry. Versus the, you're gonna be slooting around on New Year's, blah, 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 blah. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, you can feel like you were manipulated, or maybe they weren't so honest with you about like their availability and all that kind of stuff, and that's where you can feel hurt. But you can't, I don't know. It seems like she was very well intentioned. I think we can all agree on that. And he took it way too far. But the part that is just absolutely mind-blowing is after the fact, hey, I'm sorry. Sorry you felt disrespected. And then the triple text, you up? I couldn't imagine. Like, number one, I would never be rude to someone like that. Even if they did me, like, they texted me, hey, I only went out with you for the free meal. I would just never speak to them again, because that kind of person isn't worth the energy of being upset. I know some people can't help themselves, though. But, man, you go on a good date. She's trying to figure out dating with you. She says she's a little busy over the holidays, but, like, is willing to make it work. And you're just like, no, you're just not interested. Like, bro's projecting. Bro has either been through some stuff. I feel like that's like what, I'm not making excuses for him. I really, really am not. But I'm always the kind of person who, I see someone behave a certain way, and I immediately think, okay, how did they get this way? Because I feel like there's always a reason why people act the way that they act. Is that fair and valid? Can we all agree on that? Bro needs to take a break from dating. Maybe talk to somebody. It's just blowing up is very, very not healthy. Let's get another set. Unfortunately, the next machine that we want is currently being used, so I think we're gonna wait. But until I'm gonna wait, you're not gonna wait with me. So I'll see you on the next one. All right. Now for our last exercise, we're gonna be doing a standing lever. I think we're gonna do more weight than this, but we're gonna do this one and see how we feel and go from there. Yeah, we're gonna do a little more. These conversations that we've talked about are very much in the scope of dating and relationships and romance, and that's not to say that miscommunication, toxic neediness perhaps, and just completely stepping over people's boundaries solely exists in those spaces, because it doesn't. It exists everywhere. It even exists between like friends, right? Maybe to a lesser extent that you might be less emotionally invested in conversations you're having with friends until your friend comes to you after you've been friends for 2 years and you break up with your boyfriend, and he says, "Oh, this is my moment. I've been waiting for you for so long. I've been the shoulder for you to cry on. I've been the best man I can be. And now, in the wake of your failed relationship, it is time for you to give me a chance." And then obviously you're not in a space to date him. Or her, right? There's girls who do it too. I think it's more of like a man meme though. But if you're on the other side of it, fair play, same thing. And then they don't be your friend anymore because they were never actually your friend. They were just waiting to get something out of you. That's kind of tragic. There's the memes of like men and women can't actually be friends. I wonder how true that is. Is there some truth to it? Maybe. I've had girls that were my friends who then were like, "Hey, I like you." And then once I'm like, "Oh, I don't like you," they do stop being my friend. I've never really found myself on the other end of it personally, but I definitely see girls talk about it online a lot, so no doubt happens. Maybe just we're selfish. Maybe people are too selfish to really be friends with people of the opposite gender. There's just like in work where there's like a power imbalance between like your manager and you, and how you never really can truly probably be friends because of that. It's the same thing with like friendships and people. Like if she's more attractive than him or he's more attractive than her and one of them, likes the other, they can never really be friends because there's like that power imbalance. Am I just saying shit right now? Maybe. Does any of it make any sense? I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you decide. At this point, there's no blood in my brain. I'm on my last exercise. I was already mentally exhausted before I came to the gym today. Lord. I think even though this topic didn't really start on so much communication, I mean, maybe it did. Maybe the topic the whole time was this toxic communication style between, each other. And the easiest examples of that are between two people who are romantically involved in some way or wish to be, or one of them has imagined in their mind that they'd be romantically involved with someone else. And that's just the low-hanging fruit to talk about for this video. But I think largely, I touched on it a little bit earlier, that the biggest issue for our interpersonal communication skills being so terrible is the fact that I think most people, for whatever reason, I wonder if there are studies or if there's any science that you could draw from here, that a lot of younger people perhaps immediately take a more defensive position when talking about any individual subject. I think about my own conversations with people. I think about the ones that I see online and how people act, posting on the nice guys and nice girls subreddit. And just other am I the asshole type posts, and most people immediately draw the line in the sand. They put the sandbags up, they dig the trenches, and they're like, don't attack me. You're assaulting me as a person, and I will defend it at all costs. And I think maybe that's just where we all need to take a step back and think that perhaps most people we communicate are a little bit more altruistic. Not in the examples I gave today, of course, because those are extreme, and I don't think, except for the last one where that guy clearly had some trauma, seemed like a decent enough dude. until he had a meltdown. It's hard for me to say he's a decent enough guy and then like reading the meltdown that he had, but maybe it was all a facade. Everything in the beginning was a facade, and he let out who he truly was at the end. So yeah, maybe not any of those individuals, including the one that I almost backtracked on. But I think generally, most people who don't find themselves getting posted onto the internet have more altruistic motives. And when we talk to them, we can be more mindful of how we immediately jump to the defensive when communicating. And I think that would do the whole world wonders. Also, as men, since we're talking about the relationship stuff, if she says no, it's no. Period. If she's not interested, what are we doing? Why are you leading with your monetary advantages? Why are you asking what her boyfriend does to? You think she's gonna be sitting there and you'd be like, I make twice as much as your boyfriend currently does, and she's just gonna be like, oh my god, I had no idea. I'm gonna leave him immediately and come live with you and birth your children. What? It's very crazy to me. Let's get this last set in. That's gonna be it. So from here, see you kiddos in the car. So that's gonna be the end of gym therapy for today. There's a weird episode. I don't know. I want to find a way to integrate more things that I'm actually seeing online into the actual topics like this. Because it gives more context, I think, in some situations. Fear not, we're not going to become a Reddit reading channel, but I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Therapy Gecko, right? Where I'm not super familiar with all the content, but he has people call in and he hears their stories and he gives his advice and his opinion and how to change your perspective. And I think that's ultimately the direction I want my channel to go. Not so much as in I'm going to be live calling you guys from the gym mid-workout, but kind of taking anecdotal stories on topics that we talk about. So we have other perspectives other than my own. Because while I do have a lot of very insightful and sometimes humorous stories to share, I have only lived so much life. So being able to kind of just reach our hand in the cookie jar of other people's problems kind of makes it easier to, create content. And that's really what I need to think about as we're 16 episodes deep. And there really are only so many mental health topics. I like to yap, and I think some of you guys like to hear me yap. So it's forever that adventure of what can I yap about? That's also helpful. I like my channel being more so help and entertainment than just entertainment and maybe a little bit of help. Because I think in our society today, we are very shy when it comes to getting help to begin with. And there aren't always a lot of avenues. There's not always a place where we feel like we can go, especially for men, right? We kind of talked about it in previous vlogs that men don't feel safe talking about their problems, right? With anyone, because society hasn't made it safe. Sometimes girls feel that way too. Maybe you don't have a lot of connections and attachments that you can reach out to, that you can lean on to talk about your problems. And I think that's kind of the other purpose here. I'm not asking any of you to share your personal stories in the comments, but if I take other people's stories as well as my own and we kind of address them in gym therapy, hopefully I can adjacently help you with your problems. Because as much as I'd like to think all of my homies in the chat that have subscribed have no issues whatsoever, that's just not life. That's not reality. I think we're all going through stuff on some level. Some of us really heavy, some of us not so much, but I think the general consensus is things weigh down on you more the longer you hold on to them. So hopefully we can help all of you let go of the things that are weighing you down. The purpose of today's topic, however, was communication, was setting correct expectations, boundaries, and kind of the ridiculous way that some people have decided to conduct themselves publicly. I don't know how it's become popular, accepted in whatever circle these people are hanging around in to act this way, but it's not. While it has been minimal, because I typically am able to vet people pretty well when they have ill intentions or they're not really being totally truthful about who they are, I have seen it personally. I'm sure some of you guys, especially if you're a girl, have seen some craziness from men. This is not a stat. This is not backed by science, but I would be willing to bet some indeterminate amount of things on the fact that men do this shit more. And to my boys, why? Why are you acting this way? Why do you feel entitled to other people? Why? And then when you feel entitled and they shut you down, you're like, no, no, no. I can convince you. Just give me a second. I'm going to talk you out of your relationship with your husband. I'm going to talk you into a divorce. What? I'm also just trying to help you out, man. If you are messaging a girl once a week, good morning, and she has not responded, stop, please. I'm begging you. I am begging you to stop. This is not healthy behavior. This is not a good look. We need to shift your mental. All right. We're going to go after girls who give us the time of day. That's the first step. If she doesn't message you when you message her, we're done. Right? She doesn't exist anymore. Same thing for you girls. You're doing this. If you're texting a guy and he's never texting back, no, stop it. We are only going after people that want us. We are going to go after people who chase us back. Right? Mutual chasing. I could rant and rant and rant and rant and rant about this, but you guys get the picture. Small steps, and the first step is to stop dead texting people. I don't know if that means anything. I just made it up because like if you text them and they don't respond, it's like talking to a corpse. That's what my brain just made up. Is that a real term? I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna be all for today's gym therapy. Kind of a weird one, I know, but I'm kind of a weird guy. And I'm just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So anyway, that's going to be all for today. And I hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday. And I will see you this weekend for a rest day.